Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. I'm sorry we're late. It's my fault. I'm sitting here waiting for Kelsey going, what is going on? And then I realized I never sent him the link to the chat, so I apologize.
I was thinking that lunch conked him out. He was dead asleep on the couch.
My wife and I did my Sunday comics this morning. I did Fantastic Four, 48, 49, and 50. And then we went to the diner, and it's just such a great place. It's a Ecuadorian diner, and oh my god, everything is so. These people don't care about health food; they care about delicious food. It is awesome.
I was a bit jealous.
Oh, come on,
good. I'll have to.
Where do you live?
Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm just down the road from you.
You got food. You got good food down there. I love.
Yeah, we do.
You have access to andouille sausage. I can't find any.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Just get that at the store.
Yeah, I go to the store here. It's prepackaged. It's like Oscar Mayer wheat. It's just garbage. But there's a Cajun restaurant over here that it's so good. I got to find a place that sells
I wonder if they make it themselves. Yeah, we got a place down the road where you get seafood and boudin and andouille sausage, just everything you can need to make some Cajun food. It's great. They actually raise their own crawfish and stuff there. So.
Yeah, this place gets like local eggs and everything. I didn't know that there was blue eggs. Did you know that there's chicken eggs that are blue?
There's all kinds of different colors. There's like brown. There's like light beige. There's polka dots.
Yeah, I knew all that, but blue, I did not know. And it's funny because you crack them up, the yolk is like bright orange.
Oh wow! No, yeah. I don't know if I've seen that.
Yeah, so they're like almost like double a regular dozen, but there's a local. I gotta go get. I love breakfast. Is my favorite.
Oh, same here. Well, I mean, if it's a diner and no one's died from it yet, it's probably okay. So blue eggs it is.
I stumbled upon it because it's called Lucia's, and I thought it was Italian. And I don't go to. I was a part owner of a pizzeria, and I cook Italian food better than any restaurant. So I don't go to Italian restaurants. So I drove by it for like 2 years. And then one day, I was just coming back from some place, and I was like, you know what? It's a diner because it looks like a diner. It's they got to have eggs and bacon, and I get them. I'm like huevos, rancheros, and Ecuadorian
green eggs and ham. Yeah,
I'm like, what the hell is this? Oh my god! I was out. I was out of work last year for I have furloughs. I went like every day for breakfast. I've been bringing friends here, and my friend Jimmy's wife is like a super snooty foodie. Ooh. And I was like nervous bringing her here, and she loved it's because it's painted bright yellow. It's like kitschy, is the way she described it.
Well, and she liked it.
She loved it.
Oh, okay, good. That's a good sign.
Said, your food recs are as gold as far as I'm concerned. These my friend Jimmy and his wife, we've been playing Villains and Vigilantes, our role playing game since we were like 9 and 10. He just happened to move 10 minutes away from me, like a month after I moved, so it's great. I got my buddy, and their kids are gone in college, so they haven't opened their oven yet. They bought a house that was built, a tiny little house because it's just them, empty nesters, and their oven still has like the plastic over it because they eat out every meal. Good for them, huh?
Yeah, I guess now they're back to the empty house.
Yeah, it's like they're dating again,
They make the little picnic on the floor.
I get uncomfortable when I go to the house. It's so clean. A brand new house. My house is
lived in.
Yeah, it's a 2-bedroom house with the basement they never fixed, and they had 7 kids in here. I cannot imagine how they did it.
Yeah, geez.
I cannot imagine how they did it in this house. I'm like my wife gets in the kitchen with me. I'm like, get out.
Yeah.
I can't deal with you. But anyway, I'm rambling for 4 minutes. And guys, I'm really sorry. This is my fault. I'm sitting there going, where's Kelsey? This guy forgot. I'm getting mad at Kelsey when I see it was me. So,
wow.
Welcome to Two Beards, One Comic. This is, that's kind of a lie because we got a bunch of comics. But
2 Beards, One Comic Saga.
Yeah, One Beards, One Saga. 2 Beards, One Comic is just a great title. And for those of you who haven't been with us before, we've been talking about Jim Starlin's Warlock. We're up to issue 12. I think we started at I forget, what was it, 9? Don't tell me we only did like 3 comics. We're up to 4 hours on this series.
Well, the reason for doing it is because I'd never read it. You asked if I'd ever read it. It had one of the best endings of any comic you've ever read in the history of comics. And I was like, I'm always up for a good read. And it was pretty fantastic. I'd never read anything like it. So
I didn't mislead you. I didn't oversell it. I didn't lead you astray.
Well, I started thinking after I read it, I was starting to think, well, I can't remember. Like, I was trying to remember other great endings of books. Like a lot of people think Watchmen had like a real classic ending. That was kind of so-so for me. Not bad. I mean, not that it was bad or anything, but I'm not sure I got the meaning of it or whatever. And this was a really good one. But the thing about this one is it stuck with me. Like I kept thinking about some of the things that happen in the end here, and so it did stick with me. And Spider-Man shows up, and he's just perfectly written.
The 2 Everyman characters, Ben Grimm and Peter Parker.
Yeah, right. He's great too. The chemistry between them, and what I came away with it also is both how close they came to the movies, or how close the movie came to the book, rather, but also how much they left out, especially with Warlock, that they could have done something with. And they made him a joke. And after reading this, I was like, oh my God, the Guardians of the Galaxy could have been a whole other animal if they'd have made Warlock a key figure in that storyline,
Yeah. There's almost no point to put him in the movies now.
No, because they've already they kind of tried to redeem him a little bit, but I'm like, there's just no way. I mean, this unless that was all that in between stuff when he was on the second Earth, before he used any power or any of that stuff.
They could still do the major story.
Yeah,
it's just that they can't have spoiler alert, Thanos dies, unless they have a time stone in Thanos, or they have a stand-in for Thanos or something.
Well, they're doing all that alternate timeline stuff now. So, but I don't care because it exists as a really great comic book, and the older I get, the more I fall in love with comics, and just I'm the world of movies.
The reason why I recommended it to you is because you're doing Nexus with Mike Barrett.
That's another thing. Yeah, the Nexus, which I've read that for years, and I've always kind of marveled at the world building and the really crazy sci-fi ideas he would come up with, and then to read another book that was, they're nothing alike and a lot alike at the same time.
Yeah,
they're equally as imaginative in their world building and stuff.
I could see out of Warlock and Nexus encountering each other.
That would be an excellent a crossover event.
The comic book version of Star-Lord pre 2012, when they turned him into the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever read the original Star-Lords. That's
no, I remember picking up one because Dan Lawless did the art in it. It was all painted, even though now he said that he did it with color pencils, which blew my mind. I was wow. What? It looks like oil paints or something. Yeah, but that was my first experience with him. So it wasn't until I saw him in the movies, I was like, oh, okay.
That's a different character. The Star-Lord in the comics is if you go with his oversized Marvel previews, the magazine-sized comics. He was a murderer who murdered people to become Star-Lord. He was not a good guy.
Oh, and wow.
And then when they reprinted it into comics, they left out the murdering part, but they showed that he was a person who will become Star-Lord because he needed to get revenge on the race that killed his mother.
What was that related to? That might be some more books we'll have to get into at some point. Is that related to Ego, like it was in the movie?
Ego has nothing to do with Star-Lord.
I didn't think so.
No, Ego is Ego. Ego comes from the Black Galaxy. He's just somewhere in Jack Kirby's imagination. There's an entire galaxy of evil where Lovecraftian creatures just evolve, and Ego
Maybe.
It's kind of scary to think that Ego fled that galaxy.
Yeah, that he's one of the good ones. Yeah, he's
or the weak ones. You know
exactly. Too much for me. I'm out of here.
I'm outta here. This is easy hunting over here. So for those of you who are joining us for the first time, my other two videos have their own playlist. I'm going to make a Two Beards, One Comic playlist. If I didn't already, I forget. And we talked about Warlock. So short story, bringing you up to speed. Warlock was debuted in Fantastic Four 65. And then I think second appearance was in Thor. And then he was forgotten about. And then he was brought back by Jim Starlin and pretty much recreated the character. Had Jim Starlin just forgot about him, as he was originally called, and created him whole cloth, it wouldn't have changed anything. But he was created by a group of scientists to make the supreme being, like a scientific supreme being that they could worship. And then he was given the soul gem by the High Evolutionary. He lived on Counter Earth. He sacrificed his life for Counter Earth. He became like a Jesus figure. And then now he's just roaming the galaxy, doing good deeds. He encounters the Church of Universal Truth, which is just oppressing, like it's like a religious empire. He's fighting against it. He finds out that the Magus is the god that is worshipped by the Universal Truth. The matriarch is running it. She's like the Pope, and he now realizes or finds out that the Magus is himself 5,000 years in the future. And in the last comic, Adam Warlock, Thanos shows up. He can't be detected by this. He's the wild card, distracted the Magus. I'm dumbing it down for this.
No, it's a good summation so far.
And then Adam Warlock realizes the only way to defeat the Magus is he goes into like a time loop and basically kills himself, so that he kills a future version of himself, like a 2 years in the future, kills himself, so that he won't turn into the Magus, and then the Magus is defeated. So now Adam Warlock is living what he considers to be his last 2 years of life before he comes to kill himself.
Before he kills himself, yeah.
Right. This comic really cemented my concept of time travel. It's
really weird because it pretty much if you've seen what is it, Back to the Future. I mean, the same kind of thing happens in that, or the whole premise of that first episode where since he was not born, he was fading out of his time period. And that happens in this book, with the Magus.
If the whole last 2 hour video is Kelsey and I going, and this movie copied this idea, and this movie copied this idea, and
it's wild.
Yeah.
It's really shocking. I love seeing that, whether or not they legitimately straight up copied it out of this book or read it when they were kids and it kind of sat in their memory. It also could be these are ideas that we have as human beings, sort of like we're tapping into the story matrix, and pulling these ideas out of a shared thought pool.
You just hit. First off, I want to say something to Phantasmagoria. She made a video to showcase my campaign, Heroic Tales.
Oh, nice.
It starts out with this 30-second trailer. So I asked her if she could clip that and send it to me. Phantasmagoria, would you be okay if I downloaded that and used that? Because it's just really good. She puts it's inspiring music, and it's all the panels.
Oh, that would be really great. So
thank you. And either respond here or just I don't want to steal anybody's work, but it was really, really nice. Second off, what you just said, I've been saying this my whole life, that children are natural born philosophers. I remember playing with bugs as a little kid, and we're going God never existed. So if God, does God worship a God? Is there a layer of gods? Does blah blah blah? Just stuff because it started off thinking those bugs think we're gods. So maybe we're just bugs before God, and is God a bug before another God? Just natural thoughts that little children have.
Yeah.
And then guys like Jack Kirby never lost that.
It's amazing how they can because I remember I think about when I was young and I had no fear and no what do you call it, all this stuff built up in my head about what's right or wrong or this, that, and the other. It's just free imagination. So it's being able to tap into that as an adult with your ability to do something with it, like the way Starlin's doing here, that's magical.
So that's what I think. Like Jack Kirby, Jim Starlin, so many of these guys were able to tap into that like natural wonder that children have and hold on to it as an adult. Too many of us become cynical as we get older, you know.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said, maybe screenwriters, they read this, they filed it away.
Yeah, maybe
inspired something that they thought about as a kid. I mean, what kid hasn't thought about time travel? And what kid hasn't thought about, if God always existed, what happened? Like, did he create himself? And what happened the day before he created himself? Was there like, this is just all natural stuff, you know. And that's kind of what comic books inspire. I love it. So anyway, before I go nuts, the Warlock comic book started at Warlock 1. Then I think it was canceled at number 8. And then it was brought back into Strange Tales 179. It went 179, 180, 181. And then it went back to Warlock number 9. So we did a bunch of issues. And now we're at Warlock number 12. And it gets canceled at 15. And then it goes into Avengers Annual. And Marvel. We still have a lot of... And I still say the best is yet to come.
Yeah, what's weird is I thought there was only I thought we were going to be able to get through the end, but then when I went back and was like reading some of this stuff to refresh and realized we're only halfway.
Right. You know, Secret Wars is we said the next series will be Secret Wars. That's 12 issues. I don't think it's going to be as long as this.
Oh, well, that's because this is just so layered and dense.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Richie Dupe. It's good to see new names.
Hey.
Phantasmagoria. Sure, it came from an app. It was my editing app. I went through it and picked the one that seemed to fit, felt uplifting and hard to. Oh, thank you. So,
nice.
Can I download it and use it? That, you know, I don't want to steal anybody's work. You know, and I accidentally hurt people's feelings before, and so I expressly ask for permission nowadays. I learned from my mistakes, contrary to what my boss's family and wife think. So here we got this. This is. So last issue, Adam Warlock killed his future self. Now, also, he has the Soul Gem. So this is the first of the Infinity Stones. At this point, I don't think there was Jim Starlin created the Infinity Stones. At this point, there was just the Soul Gem. It's the green one. And he basically absorbed himself. He stole his soul. So he has this like paradox loop of he absorbed his own soul. So he has memories of things that don't exist yet. It's just so fascinating. And,
and that technically, well, I guess he wouldn't have memories of the Magus, but the Magus would have memories of him.
Yeah,
but
he killed the Magus now.
Yeah, but he's gone.
And so this is, you know how the X-Men, they always have like a grand adventure, and then the next issue, half of it's them playing baseball. You know,
it's like a breather. You know,
this is a breather. This is Pip the Troll. This is his sidekick character that. As a kid, I hated, and as an adult, I kind of appreciate. And you know,
he kind of represents the id, because you got Adam Warlock just moping around the whole time, just I'm so tortured, and then so you got to have that comic relief, that guy that lightens it up a little bit, and who got a stogie in one hand and a you know,
he's just he doesn't exist for anything more than his own pleasure.
Yeah.
It's like Adam Warlock to me is like the super ego. He's like the conscience. He's always questioning his actions. Pip the Troll is the it, and I would say Gamora is the ego. You know, Gamora's not on this cover. This isn't Gamora. This is a blue chick. But you know, and then so many first. You know, the Magus was introduced. First appearance of Gamora was introduced. Pip the Troll. Did they put Pip the Troll in the Eternals movie, if I remember correctly?
Oh, I didn't see that one. Yeah,
you didn't miss much. They debuted Earls, you know, Thanos' brother. So here we got the first page. I'll bring up the indicia since it's the first one, 1976. So
still when you can get your X-ray glasses,
still a year before Star Wars.
Wow,
you know what I mean? And you know.
This is a whole cantina scene right here.
Right, the whole comic is a cantina. Yeah, this whole comic.
It's true.
I never met George Lucas, never interacted with George Lucas, but I can safely say he read this.
Yeah,
you know, I know he read comic. So we got layouts and story by Jim Starlin. So that means Jim he's writing it and he's doing the pencils. Finished art and coloring by Steve Lailiola. Lettering by Tom Orzechowski and editing Marv Wolfman. This is like the third editor.
Oh, is it?
This is like a bad sign whenever the editors change, you know.
Yeah, Lynn Wein has been doing it. Yeah, I wondered if is that because they're just rotating staff a lot, or is it because Jim is like very determined to get his story out there?
I don't know. That's something I would ask Jim Starlin if I ever got. So Fantastic said she made a video for Nexus Scourge as well. So
hey, cool. Awesome! Thank you.
And here we got your link.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Here. Since we're talking about it, I got this. Let's see if we can pop this up.
Sure.
Before we get too deep into this, why not? I like this trailer. I want to show it off.
Cool. Yeah, your trailer is pretty cool.
There you go. So there's a good audio on this one.
An ancient evil, billions of years old, wages war on the universe. Entire star systems are vanishing without a trace, leaving devastation in their wake. Nexus, the intergalactic guardian of lost souls, must stop the unnameable terror and its expanding scourge of destruction. The totality of everything in existence will collapse upon itself if he fails. With the fate of the cosmos in the balance, Nexus must confront his most dangerous adversary yet. Can he save creation from total and certain destruction, or will darkness reign supreme? Find out in Nexus Scourge, the all-new epic sci-fi adventure from Eisner-winning co-creator Mike Baron, exploding with Kelsey Shannon's dynamic artwork. Available now at baroncomics.com.
Nice.
Yeah, so there you go. If you like epic, imaginative sci-fi stuff, like Warlock, you'll probably like Nexus. Thank you.
Phantasmagorical, if you put the link to the trailer in here that you made for me, well, you know.
That'd be great.
I got to sell comics too.
For sure. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that is a great tailor. You have a great tailor there, Kelsey.
I do. It's Walmart.
Pity Ma, good to see you.
Hey.
So, like we said, this came out a year before Star Wars. You know, do you remember 1976? I mean, the bicentennial.
Well, I don't know. I was probably still eating the ashes out of the ashtray. I might have been it might have been, before the soft part of my head hardened. I don't know. I was born in 75, so.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I do remember going to see the second Star Wars in the theater. So I'm not sure when that came out. 82? When did that come out?
Second Star Wars?
Empire?
83, I don't know.
Yeah. But no, I don't know if I remember 77.
Hey guys, this is my buddy Cam. I read somewhere that the Star Wars Cantina scene was inspired by George's love for Casablanca and Rick's Cafe in that film.
That's true.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
In which case, this might be inspired by that scene in Casablanca as well. Now that you said that,
because if you notice, the architecture is kind of like.
Yeah, it is.
Moroccan.
Yeah. Oh, good call.
Good call. Well, Cam knows his comic book stuff. Cam, it's funny. I met Cecil in person yesterday. With Billy Tucci, and
he knows his comics too, man.
Oh yeah, Billy. Cecil knows his comics. I was really impressed. We were sitting in a bar just drinking, talking comics. Anybody listening to this conversation must have been laughing their ass off. It was Vaughn Coleman, who was Phenomenova, myself, a couple of other people, forgive me, whose names I don't remember, Billy Tucci and Cecil, and we were just yakking, sucking up all the oxygen, talking about comics. And
must
Cecil
have been
said
good.
a funny thing that his father took him to see Star Wars, and then his father took him to see Empire. His father took him to see Return of the Jedi, and he never saw Empire Strikes Back.
Oh my gosh!
And at the time, you didn't get to see it if you didn't see it in the movies. It's not like you could go to In Demand,
right?
You know what I mean? So, he said, like, he was in his 40s, and he says to his father, "Why didn't you take me to see Empire Strikes Back? What was wrong with you? You took me." And his father goes, "The robots were kind of gay." So there's the formative.
What a reason.
Now you understand Cecil's personality. I got to say, Billy, hanging out with Billy Tucci is like hanging out with Frank Sinatra.
Oh, I bet.
He was a cool guy. I introduced myself, and you know what he says to me? How come I haven't been on your channel yet?
Nice.
He knows me. You know, he gives me his phone
Tell him to
number.
grow a beard, and you can go over some comics.
That would have been a funny answer. I was a little starstruck, but that would have been a funny answer. You don't have a beard. He gives me his phone number. It turns out he lives like 5 minutes away from me. He's invited me to go hunting. What a cool guy. I felt like I hang out with, you know, I'm trying to think. Maybe I was like Frank Langella, the lesser known of the Rat Pack.
Tooch is like, he's like legitimately comic book royalty. You know, like,
good guy.
He's a special guy.
He's such a cool. He's such a cool guy. And Cecil, you know, I'm not a fan of this.
Very charismatic.
I didn't get Cash Grab because I'm not a fan of comedy comic books.
Yeah.
And he gives me one. You know what I mean? He avoided the uncomfortable question. Why didn't you back it? You know, he was just. And what a charming.
Because he probably
guy.
keeps tabs on everybody that bought.
Yeah, I know.
Sure.
I made the list.
I didn't see you on the list, John.
What a charming guy he was. I got to say,
he was very charming.
Just a charming guy. I got nothing bad to say about anybody. I got to get Billy on. I absolutely agree. I didn't want to call him the next day like a guy pursuing a girl. Hey, honey, you want to hang out?
Give it a little space. Make him want
cool
you.
With Billy. Billy's a cool guy. I gotta be cool with him. And then it's funny, we're talking to him. He's at the free comic book day selling all this stuff, but I already had it, so I didn't buy anything. You know what I mean? So I had to explain to him. I already have all of this. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want him to think I wasn't buying it.
Like 3 copies of it, probably. Yeah.
I already got your omnibus. I got the cheese stuff. You know, sorry that I'm not buying anything. And he took my card and was handing him out to other people for my comic. He was such a cool guy. But anyway, 27 half hour. Let's talk about Warlock. So we're gonna have a troll.
We've warmed up.
So Pip's race is called a trolls. And what are they doing? They're in a bar. They're in like a disco. We got flashing lights. We got smoke. You know, he's hitting. I love that troll hits on the fat chicks. You know, he's hitting on the fat chicks. And
she's like the owner of the bar, right? She's that's like Mama, I think her name is.
The hot chicks are eyeing Adam Warlock, and he's just brooding over this super cool Steinglass. Look at that. Look at the detail in that.
Yo, yeah, right. It's got faces in it too.
Yeah, it's got skulls. It's got faces. He's sitting there with his evil skull pendulum. His jewelry. He's just. I don't know. You walk in. If I'm hanging out with Adam Warlock, the girls don't notice me. And again,
well, he's the dark, brooding loner over in the corner. You know, mysterious.
Just look at how many panels there are. You know,
and this scene is really funny because you know one of the things that I did notice that I made note of in the other episodes is that they started off doing these recaps where they'll just take a page or two and do intensive recaps. But then, like in the last issue or so, they started to incorporate the callbacks, the flash or the what happened before, you know, into the actual story. And that's what's happening here is that they're having a good time. Troll's like, hey, why aren't you letting your head down? You know, we should be having a good time. And he's just like, I know, but I keep thinking about all this stuff, you know. And then they go over the recap.
It was really weird too. Last issue, Captain Marvel, who's not in this comic, just narrates the recap. Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah, just because Jim Starlin was also doing the Captain Marvel comic at the time.
Yeah, so just doing things, fun things, doing different stuff, making it not boring.
Cecil has fat, pudgy feet like a munchie. I don't know. I wouldn't insult this guy. He was built like a superhero. He was ripped big. You know, I was like two guys.
He's got sausage fingers, though. He looks like he has the hands of a construction worker.
And I'm a construction worker, and I don't think he's worked a day in his life, so I don't know how that's possible. Yeah. I wouldn't fight him or Grant Nolan. No way.
No.
And Vaughn Coleman had a really funny idea. You know how they do that COC, the cockfight creator?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Vaughn was like, they should get two guys who can't draw, like me and Vaughn, and draw our characters. I thought
that would be funny.
Yeah, that would be funny. Two guys who can't draw. The requirement to include a recap every issue elevated to an art form at the time, especially, yes, you know, it's one of those comic book things with bizarre, clunky dialogue, but we forgive it. And I got to say, at the time, I didn't get this in order. You know, I got some of these.
Yeah, so it was important.
I appreciated everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's made me think about that. Like if I have continuing storylines, like, you know, if I do even now where we're doing larger books, if we do another follow-up to that book, maybe integrating a recap the way they do in here, where it's not just a page where they just tell you everything that happened in the previous issue. They integrate that into the story really well here.
Right, yeah, this is he's telling basically the story as to this heavyset woman of like why he's being a mope, you know?
Yeah.
Like justifying, like you know how close I you know, you're not going to evolve into an evil being. I'm going to evolve into and now I only got 2 years left to live. It's like he got diagnosed with a terminal illness.
Yeah.
You know? And Troll's basically saying, so what? I could die tomorrow. Let's all party, you know?
But I love this like brooding ending here where he's like, I can no longer remain in this place. I must find the answers to these questions that gnaw at my sanity. And I'll not find them here, but perhaps out there. You know, it's all dramatic.
Out among the stars.
Yeah.
So now he goes, for I am always apart. I am the warlock.
Yeah. It's
you know
it's like emo before emo, you know?
Oh, they are setting up cockfight between two artists. That would be funny. That would be funny. Yeah, it's so emo before emo was a thing. And I looked up the one of the things I'm really interested in is etymology of words.
Oh,
right?
Me too. Yeah.
So warlock literally translates to an oath breaker.
And I had no idea because I had the common kind of idea what a warlock was, is like a male witch or something.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah. So the actual etymology of that, and because I'll tell, you know, I could tell my my Christian grandmother, oh, I read Warlock today, and she'd be like, oh, you know, I'm like, no, you don't understand. It's not that. Woo, you know, it's not that. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, and like the word doesn't mean anything. It's just a cool sounding, scary word. You know, put Adam. Well, but if you break it down, I think Adam is the first man. Warlock means oathbreaker. Yeah. So his name means the first oathbreaker.
That's wild.
If I made up Adam Warlock, or if I wrote an Adam Warlock, I would incorporate that into a story. So I love this. Now Pip is all pissed off now. You know, he's like, "Did you see that? This creep just diverted me after I've saved his life." And
which he didn't really.
And then North Balloon, me hoping to settle the tab for all the debauchery I've been up to with one of Adam's gold wristbands.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So now he's trying to leave, and she's like, "Whoops, I forgot. Mommy here was, which wasn't an easy thing to do. Sitting how I was." He said, "I'm leaving here," which wasn't an easy thing to do because she was sitting on his lap, and she's like, you know, wants to get some lovey-dovey's, and he's just pushing her off and rejecting her. She's big enough to grab him back.
She's not having it, but that starts a whole bar fight.
Right. And then, of course, Pip uses the bar fight to his advantage, you know. And I love this. She fights. Big Mama fights.
Yeah.
She ain't no wallflower. And then I love these T-shirts. Keep on trucking. That's definitely a
classic.
70s. Nobody hitchhikes anymore.
I remember when those were on like mud flaps on 18-wheelers. Yep. Like every time you'd see the classic, the Babe and the reclining Babe, or the Keep on Trucking. See either one of those. I haven't seen those in years.
Yeah, keep on. Yeah, I keep. Remember Ratfink?
Oh yeah, gosh,
yeah,
man.
I was just talking about, who was I talking to about Ratfink just yesterday?
I'm still like, I that's like one of my bucket list items is to do like a hot rod cartoon comic, because I grew up on like cartoons and the Ratfink stuff, and man, I'd love to do that.
Oh, that is awesome. I take it you're a Ralph Bakshi fan too?
Oh, yeah. Oh, big Ralph Bakshi fan. Yeah.
Great. Wizards. And what's the other one? Fire and Ice?
Well, yeah. Fire and Ice. And, of course, the Lord of the Rings stuff. Well, which is my favorite. But I liked all his, like, super underground stuff, like Coonskin, which is really controversial nowadays, of course. It was controversial then. but it's such a well-made movie, fun characters and
I never even heard of that one. Jeez, I gotta look.
Yeah,
that up.
you can find it on like the Scatman Carruthers is in it, and I think it's his best role. He's so good.
Better than the singing
Barry White's in it. Do what?
He's better than the singing garbage man on Chico and the Man.
Oh, I don't know. That's true. I forgot about that. He does sing in it though, and he does really good. But yeah, Scatman is like a part of my childhood. I love
Kung Fooey.
Yeah, exactly. He was a cartoon voice in so many, cartoons I watched.
Scatman.
He's called that for a reason. He does that.
we
anyway,
showing our age. Scatting is just like nonsense. It's like I don't know the words.
Yeah.
Oh my God! I just thought of this, Kelsey. If I hit my stretch goal and my $100,000 stretch goal and I fly everybody out here, you got to come out here. I got a board game called Scat, and everybody gets cards, and it's just it's like a memory game. So it's like beep, and you play down the card, and as you play down the card, you got to do all of the cards below it. So the card below it would be like bop. And then the card be a little bit like oop. So you're like oop, beep, bop, boop, beep. And if you mess up, you get all the cards. And the first person to lose all their cards wins. So and one of the cards just says improvise. So it's like beep, boop, bop, beep, beep, blah, 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 blah. You
got to remember that.
So you will get a couple of drinks in you, play that game. Oh my God.
You got to tell Cecil, I need you to come down here to play some scat and see what he says. Yeah.
Cecil only lives like 10 minutes away.
Yeah, he's not far. Yeah, all you guys in New York, an hour away. It's like me going to New Orleans. It's not that far. All right, so where are we at? They're having a whole...
I'm just thinking of nonsense. So now Mama-san over here, Big Mama, is going to beat up everybody. And look at that panel. Apparently she does.
It's such a great panel. It's all like tilted. The color is great.
Rock cartoons. Look at that. I could see like Ratfink in there. What was that guy's name? John Stokes, who did all those Ratfink.
I can't remember nowadays.
And here he is. He's hiding under. They're all fighting. So what does he do? He hides under the bar. He's drinking all the booze.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like that. You've seen that in movies too, where the guy's over there and they shoot a hole in the keg, and they're like, they drink some. That's what he's doing right here. He's drinking all the booze. But
did you see that? Like. Talk about it's got the cowboy sliding, the western doors, and he comes out. Guess I showed them.
Yeah, you're right.
And what does he do? He meets up with a lady of the night, like in a portable booth. He's like, "Who's there? You want to talk nonsense to me?" He's like, "I'll take care of it." And boom, hot blue space chick.
So now this is really wild because they don't explicitly say it. But I get the feeling that this little booth is a lot like the TARDIS in Doctor Who, because it just looks like a little floating car with a little capsule on the back. But when he looks inside, it's a whole apartment. It's like a whole building.
Holy heart failure. This is a pleasure cruiser, one of those fantasy mobiles that all degenerates dream of. So we got 68 degenerates in the chat. This is what you dream of.
It's certainly what I've dreamed of. Especially with a hot blue babe that only Kirk Kirk could love. No, I love her too. What do you mean?
Where are you going? Are you going to stay there? Or you like to come in with me for a little ride? I'll come. This is pushing the authority to the limits over here. Pip, oh boy, you do. Whatever you do, don't wake up,
So it's an interesting bit because like he tells his story right here, which is like his backstory, which he's like a king or something.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure. He's an unreliable narrator in my opinion.
Right.
So I'm not
he's
sure.
lying to a chick. He's lying to a chick. And he just drank the entire saloon.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm not sure I'm buying any of this, he's saying. But there's probably fragments of truth in there.
Yeah. That's the best stories, right? It's fragments.
Yeah.
So look at this. You're right. I never noticed that before, but then again, I haven't read this in a long time. But look how big the room is in that first panel.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like the TARDIS in Doctor Who. Yeah, because he walks in and it's like a whole place, which is really cool because they don't talk about it. It's just something visually that's happening.
And Kelsey, I never noticed how suggestive this was before. I think I was kind of annoyed because I wanted to get to the Warlock story, you know. So but here she is. She's like, I'm looking for a champion. Are you such a man? And then look at that pose. She lifts her leg. You see the tail. The skirt falls apart. He goes, "You bet your sash I'm that man." Like, this is really pushing the Comics Code Authority, and that's. I know I get crap when I say this, but like,
she's got a tail.
Yeah, she's got a tail. Yeah, piece of tail over here.
They had to be creative around the code, you know.
Right, but it forced you to be creative. Like, look at the great comic books that we talk about. They're 90% of them are during the code years. You know, granted, most of the comics came out in the code years, but like since the code ended, what are the eternal stories that we talk about? You know, a little art through adversary never hurt nobody, I think.
Well, I mean, it's such a it's such an example of it all, because we can say, oh, well, they're not able to have sex or violence in there, so they do a lot of creative things around that. But that also, they applied that to like everything, and that engages our creativity and makes our brain kind of like think around the edges of it, and it just was so much more interactive in that way.
Like I read a few crowdfunding comics, and think about it. In this scene, it would just be like an explicit naked girl shot,
right?
And then he would just be like, "All right," like, but this is like seduction going on over here. You know, like they're not showing anything. She's seducing him. He's fallen for it, but then again, he can't not fall for it. That's, you know, he's like you said, he's just id personified, and now he's just playing like. Like, she wants a champion. Oh, I'm going to tell her story of a champion. So I don't know how much of the story I believe.
I also think she might have powers as a seductress. You know, that even though he's willing wholeheartedly to give himself to her anyway, as a troll and as he's
I never
completely drunk. But she, like, we'll find out later. There's more to her than meets the eye as well.
Also, there's a lot of like smoke and braziers and stuff. You know, they could be like drugs just floating around the room.
Right.
Are all trolls as powerful as yourself? Lady trolls aren't born; they're made. And then look at this like little silly outfit that he's forced to wear. Yeah, he's Prince Gofern of Laxadasia. He's got nothing better to do than just walk around, paint. You know.
Yeah, he's bored.
Yeah, he's bored. He goes outside, you know, he's painting. All the aliens are friendly, you know, they're just drinking. He's eating, drinking, you know. Oh, that's right. It's kind of like the Buddha. He lives in the palace and he just has everything.
Yeah.
He goes outside the palace and he sees people like living it up, you know, like 1984 when Winston goes with the proles and he sees them dancing, and so now he's drinking for the first time. He's dancing. He's smashing his face, you know. He wakes up, he's robbed, you know, and he loved it. It's
but he says he awakens hungover and mysteriously transformed into a troll. So he was a normal guy until he was hanging out with the trolls. At least that's his story.
Yeah. I've never drank that. Yeah, so I passed up, and when I woke up, yeah.
So that's interesting, Eric. Trolls like created
over here, and now he doesn't have. Well, he still has the ears.
Well, that's when he's drinking. I think he's like hanging out with the trolls so long, having a good time, that he just becomes a troll. So I guess they're, you know, maybe that's a comment on like people letting go of society and embracing like.
Oh yeah, it's like a metaphor. You know, maybe I'm no longer civilized. I'm now a barbarian.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So anybody, even Warlock, I guess Adam Warlock could be a troll if he let himself go, maybe.
A week later, I was kicked out of the Laxadaisian court for decadence, and now here I stand. What an amazing story. I don't believe it. I just, you know, you sound like just the man I want for this job.
Because she immediately goes into her, like, I'm a prisoner here. You know, you can save me. She's like chained to this cart with this cord, this wire. Holds her prisoner on this pleasure ground. Yeah, she's a sex slave. Yeah. But then we cut to Oh, here's what's going on with Adam Warlock, just in case you're wondering.
The editor talks. Oh, on that note, the editor of Marvel Comics believes it's time to main character and the namesake of this book to make another token appearance, Marv. Okay.
And then Jim's like, okay, Jim.
that fun stuff.
I love
which
that.
made me as a kid think that all of these captions, this one was obviously true, but as a kid, I always believed that the caption was like Stan Lee talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
Which in a way he was, but
it was actually.
That was the voice of Stan. So I tell you, when they say which celebrity death hurt you the most, even though I knew Stan Lee was 90-something years old,
Yeah.
I his death.
Oh, he's another one of those. Like I mentioned, Scatman was there my entire life. Stan was also there. True Believers and all that. I mean, he was just a fixture in my life.
Yeah,
my entire.
Even
life.
my brother's a motorcycle guy. Doesn't have any comics, but we went to a comic convention because George Romero was there, and my brother loved the George Romero movies. So we went, and there was just a line around the Javits Center inside one of the things, just a circular line, and people were starting to get rowdy. So they brought out Stan Lee just to wave and talk. It was a pin drop. Everybody was listening to, and my brother, who's not he was like, "That's Stan Lee. That's Stan Lee." Fading gushing out.
He just had one of those voices that you just want to listen to.
Hello, True Believers. Now look at this splash page over here.
Yeah, nice. I don't know, just great poses on the great space background, and what is he going over all the same stuff again, or is he
existential angst?
Yeah.
I believe in it. I believe in time. I admitted my own alien yet definitive humanity. For the mages has shown that I cast shadows even as I reflect light. just again, this was Shakespeare to a little kid. I'm with you, Adam. I totally understand. I'm 12 years old and I know that I cast a deep shadow myself. I identify with your problems. We all, I look at Susie. I just want to punch her in the face when she won't stop talking. Like all men, I have problems, powerful problems, yet troubles I should be able to resolve as a man. Or can I? Oh, it froze, huh?
But the real kind of meat of this is that it's setting up the next one. You're the one that scared you as a kid.
Yeah. With
the stars disappearing.
My camera froze. Geez.
The stars are disappearing and your camera's freezing.
Yeah.
It's all connected.
Remove this. Edit to stage. There we go. Is it working?
No. What happened?
So I got to do something.
Did it the cord get loose or something?
No, I don't know if it's getting hot or whatever.
Is it like your phone?
Yeah, I'm using my phone.
Oh, it might be getting hot then. Gosh, we've done whole long episodes of this already.
Let's see. Let's enter the studio. I kind of just rebooted it. So, talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, here I'll catch up with the chat here. Cam says I miss. What was that? Cam says he misses multiple drawings with the same character on a page to illustrate time passing or action happening.
Yeah, I used when Daredevil, when he did his acrobatics, you'd see multiple.
Yeah, I think they call it the DeLuca effect.
Really?
When I think that's the name for it when they show especially in Spider-Man or Daredevil's, how they show the multiple versions of him.
Okay.
I feel like we're communicating with aliens right now.
Right. Well, yeah. This is the sound of outer space right now.
I sound like I'm in the ballpark.
Sorry.
It's a home run.
How's that?
Something happened. Say something.
How's that? Is that better?
That's better. Yeah.
Yeah. When I forgot to turn the camera off on this when I brought it back. All right, let me just rearrange everything. See if I can make things bigger again.
The beards come with a certain level of boomering it up. That's just how it works.
There we go. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah. I'm not a boomer, Generation X, but I play one on TV.
Same here. we have adopted the moniker well. I think.
So you said this is the DeLuca is named after an artist. What, he was the first one to do it?
Yeah, I don't think this is not specifically a DeLuca effect, but the one that you were talking about with like Daredevil or Spider-Man, like where it shows the different poses in a path of action. This is more like a montage, but it is kind of like a DeLuca, kind of like a.
Well,
I don't know. It's his own thing. This is a Starlin effect.
Yeah, because the DeLuca has like faded colors and then only one full color.
Right. So this is like a montage of it's like the same scene, and we're seeing him just kind of like moving around in the scene, but it's all done as like this one great illustration.
And what he's bringing us up to speed again. Like Troll told the story, and now we're learning from Adam's perspective. I can't rest. I don't know. And he's basically saying there's multiple timelines. I took out the Magus, but I could still evolve into the Magus because I still exist. You know, I closed that timeline, but there's infinite timelines, and maybe the Magus could go back. Did I just delay the inevitable? You know, am I still evil? You know, how am I to master this gem when I cannot even come to terms with my own mad thoughts? You know, he's riddled with self. To me, that's like Dragon Ball Z. You know, all that. What was he saying? Have I begun to lose control already? Is this really happening? The stars are disappearing. So now he's just floating on and if you could see, it's very subtle. Oh, if you can see the middle panel over the stars, and then the next panel is less, and then the fourth panel is even less stars.
And that's totally setting up the what, is it the Star Thief? Is that what they call him?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll get to that one. That was a good one.
Vanishing stories. Sorry, that's another story entirely. One you'll have to learn about next issue.
So they were at least ahead a couple stories. So that's interesting because they're already prepping for it, you know.
So now we have Pip hanging out with this sexy tailed blue chick, and she's got this tail. There was a sci-fi book about Earthlings. They land on a planet, and the planet is just occupied with all the men are handsome and all the women are sexy, but they have tails.
Oh,
we just abduct them for sex slaves. I wish I could remember the name of I remember the race was like the Layani or something like that, but it was so I wonder if this is, you know, he read that book or the author of that book. I bet you that book probably came out first, probably from the 60s. Those trashy sci-fi sex books seem to have come out in the 60s. Well,
that's almost like what this is, because she's laying it on thick right now that she's right. If he, you know, she's in bondage, and that she was like to reward him for freeing her. Let's see, what does she say? She says, so instead I offer you a reward for freeing me in a manner that will benefit both of us mutually, and what does it say?
Derive for you unbelievable pleasure.
Unbelievable pleasure, which of course she's, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
You got yourself a deal. Now, just drop me off at the nearest electronics shop, you know, a local space Radio Shack, you know.
And this is a funny scene because, like, it's such a strange little one-off page where it's like, you know, I don't know. It's just funny that they even chose to show this, but it shows his, he is crafty. Like, he's not a complete nincompoop.
Yeah, he's a weakling in a world of titans. He's, you know, he's got to have something. He's got wits.
Yeah. So he's able to kind of sneak in under this guy, steal the tools out of his back pocket, and then he sets up a little distraction by wiring up the electrical wire to his chair, so that
he electrifies his chair. He shocks him. The guy runs out. He drops the pliers. Thanks, Baldy. It's been a real pleasure doing business with you.
It's just such a strange little outlier, this little moment, but it's fun for his character.
He comes back and snip, you know, which free at last. What's that buzzing? Oh, didn't I mention the alarm?
Yeah, I was totally expecting her to turn into some giant monster or something right at that moment, but you know, because I'm like, this something's up here. He's being led astray, but Yeah, the alarm brings.
He's sticking with the wrong head over here. What's that buzzing? Oh, didn't I mention the alarm? No, you didn't. Oh, I didn't. Why, proboscis? That's probably him right now. Yes, and he knows how to teleport. I love that. Anybody can teleport if you just know how. You know, you just need to know how to teleport.
And this guy, I wonder if he's been anywhere else. Proboscis.
Yeah.
The procurer.
Yeah. Doesn't that mean nose? A proboscis is not a nose.
Yeah, proboscis.
The procurer.
That's like he's procuring all these women.
Yeah, he shows up. He's got this white lotus over here. The flower. He shows up in this bizarre pose. He doesn't just what a bizarre pose. And then again, it's a little booth over here, and he's flopping out. Yep. So
like, where was he? He just like, I guess because the alarm, he just zaps in like a transporter in Star Trek.
Yep.
And he looks like a slime ball.
I love seeing this. Like what comics came out. We had Marvel Treasury Edition, giant size.
Oh yeah.
Came up. It was the Thing faces off against the mighty Thor and Submariner and the Hulk. Oh my God, that just sounds like an explosion in a comic book. Hulk, Thor, Submariner fighting. Oh my God. Fantastic Four 169.
It's cool that they're giving synopsises, because the way they used to do that before, the Marvel checklist was exactly that. It was just a checklist of like they had like 7 books or something like that. How many books? It was more than that.
In the 60s, they were limited because they were actually being distributed by DC. So
right.
DC limited how many comics. That's why they had those split books to get as many characters out.
Yeah, yeah.
When they distributed themselves, they never really flooded the market. I guess they did back then because we had nothing to compare it to, but like now it's just ridiculous how they flood the market.
Yeah, there would be no way to do a checklist. It would just be insane.
And I love that this came out like a month or two, so you can actually look for this stuff.
This is like Previews magazine before Previews, right?
I love this. Iron Man 85, a fear fought fight in Flushing. Marvel presents the Guardians of the Galaxy. And Marvel Team Up 44, Moondragon and Spider-Man. And then we have the Spider-Man and Superman.
Oh, yeah.
This was written for like kindergartners. Like I was disappointed when I finally read it. I just read it a couple of months ago. But
really?
Batman and the Hulk was awesome. They wrote the Batman and the Hulk for all ages. They wrote this like almost the same level as Spidey Super Stories. And the Marvel explosion is finally here.
Batman and the Hulk, is that the one that Jose Garcia Lopez drew?
Yeah,
that like big oversized one.
Yeah.
That was so good.
Yeah. Everybody calls bull crap on it because the Hulk Batman kicks the Hulk in the chest and then throws a gas grenade into his mouth. But Batman, Batman had to use his. Oh wow! Sorry guys, I didn't mean to ignore this. Super chat, Garfield. Hey, hail to the beards! Yes. We're going to cut half our beards off, mail it to each other, and sew them in and wear each other. Stupid nonsense. I'm just saying. I enjoy
tie them together like the way the Vikings used to.
Yeah, there you go. You enjoyed your laid back attitude on last night's Flashcast. That's great.
Oh yeah, that was fun. I like to kind of hang out and nerd it up, as I call it. That's like what we're doing now. I'm double dipping on nerds right now.
Yesterday, like I said, we're in a sports bar. And a little secret here, a little inside information. I don't like chicken wings, but I didn't want to be the one guy to be like, I don't like chicken wings. We got like a tray of chicken wings, like the conquering heroes. We got a tray, and they put out all these, and I was just all over my beard, all over, dipping them in hot sauce. I was trying them all. Like every hot wing had a different.
It's not the kind of thing you want to eat at a date, like spaghetti or
Oh my God, do I look bad in front of Billy Tucci?
Yeah. Oh you look over and Billy Tucci's got it all over his mouth. He's like, what?
He was so cool. He doesn't get dirty. Yeah,
that's true.
Get dirty,
it slides off of him.
Yeah, he's just so smooth. He's so smooth. I like that F in the chat said this. He didn't see these ads as a kid. So to me, this is part of comic books culture.
It is.
And I'm putting ads in my comic book too.
Oh, coul.
Yeah. Matt Powers drawing a sea hippies ad instead of sea monkeys.
Oh, fun.
Fabian
You should also do like a checklist where you talk about maybe what's coming in future episode. Little
great
teaser.
idea.
Yeah.
Great idea. Funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff.
Aiello, who does Horace H. Hoover, he's doing a hostess ad. and then Brian Bauer is doing one of those Fun Factory ads with all the like X-ray specs and goggles and things like that.
Yeah.
And then I started doing and then I realized I'm just making this comic book too expensive to sell for only $10. So I already got ads made up for issue 2 already. But look at these, is just check out our characters, guys. They don't even tell you what comics they are. Just these are our characters. Collect them all.
So fun. I mean, what are they selling right there? Just the characters. Get all the books that these characters.
Yeah, these are the Marvel Explosion, available to all our favorite Marvelites, whoever our cuddly comic mags are displayed. So you can get these characters the same: Dracula, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Captain America, the Defenders, Thor, Daredevil, Conan, Shang-Chi. Collect them all. A monthly grab bag of Marvel madness, all on sale now. Makes me think that they just didn't sell this ad, so they just threw something in there at the last minute.
Look at what Geeks Do Network says that he remembers his friend getting the sea monkeys and they really swim. Yeah, they're like little brine shrimp, I think, right?
They smell. I just remember ew.
Yeah, I think they're like little brine shrimp or something.
They don't look like monkeys. They just exist in a jar,
Yeah. Some sea life.
We got so back with this is why, like, one of the reasons I get, again, do whatever you want. I'm not the boss, but like when I see people CGC in comics, this stuff is never going to get reprinted. Like you're reading from a trade paperback. You never see these ads. You never see, like this morning rather. I showed Fantastic Four 49. In the middle of the trilogy of Galactus, and I was checking out the letters page. There was a letter from Dave Cockrum. So
wow!
Little kid Dave Cockrum grows up to create the new X-Men.
Yeah,
he set the standard for the Legion of Superheroes. Just a phenomenal creator, and he was a fanboy as a little kid. How freaking cool is that?
Another thing that adds in these different interstitials in the book, they have the effect of, if you place them well, they pause the story for a moment and let you kind of breathe.
Right,
so that,
they're like commercials.
Yeah, because like I remember when I was starting in comics, I hated them because I'm like, they'd always put the ad in a place that you didn't expect, and it'd be like a double page ad for a video game or something like that. And then eventually they just started putting them all in the back, and nobody read any of them in the back. They would read and then throw them away, throw it in a pile. And now they just don't do the ads. I haven't read a modern comic book in a while, so I don't know if they have how they're doing the ads today. But I've grown to kind of like the.
I bought this. This is my first new Marvel comic. So now I'm just gonna flip through it, see if there's any ads. You got okay, but the ads are all house ads. This is X-Men. Deadpool. So it's all house ads.
All house ads. Interesting.
Venom. So it's house ads. There's no Fun Factory. Get Fury.
Wow.
This is a waste of the credits page. And then X-Men Wedding Special.
Gosh, man, they used to. When I was reading them, they were massively showing off Sega games, and mostly it was the gaming community or like some juice or whatever. I don't know. That was random stuff.
Like this I loved. It's almost like a little like Craigslist. Learn. We'll write you poems, back issues. I wish I was smart enough to pay attention to get these back issues.
Well, this is also how people got fanzines. They put an ad in these, absolutely. And so you can get like a fanzine of, or because a lot of artists started in fanzine. I don't know if Kaluta started in fanzine, but guys like that. I think even Walt Simonson might have done fanzine stuff back in the day.
I think Rich Buckler started
Buckler.
He did, I think, the first convention and then fanzines. And Roy Thomas, I take it back. I think Roy Thomas started the first fanzine.
Yeah, so they should have more of that kind of thing.
Free $1 million cash. I always imagine, like, what if it really was some rich guy? Like, I'm dying. I love comic books. The first person to show up just gets like a pallet full of cash, but nobody took it seriously.
I'm sure lots of people wrote and then gave him $5. That was the the African prince scam of its day, you know, where you're like, I am an African prince, I have millions of dollars, so I just need you to help me get it out of the bank, and you know, you send them a bunch of money and that's it.
After a while, I figured out the Hostess fruit pies didn't give me powers. I take it back, Cam. You're absolutely wrong. Twinkies gave me the power of the blob. I miss Sunday morning comics because my new work policy says we can't wear headphones anymore. Well, you can still watch it. You know, you can watch it later. I appreciate that you enjoy it. I you know, so this is my favorite thing. To me, this is the same as Sunday comics, geeking out about a comic book.
Yeah.
Now I got a buddy with me. You know what I mean? Not that you guys aren't buddies. You know what I'm talking about, guys on camera. I bought some new comics yesterday. Yeah, I went to New Comic Book Day. I wasn't just going to go to the store. I bought
a free comic book day. Yeah,
I got 5 free comics, and the rest of these from dollar bins, and then 1 new comic.
I saw one that made me wish I'd gotten out and gotten one. There's a new Popeye comic that they gave out on Free Comic Day, and it looks like fun. Actually, it looks like they're turning Popeye into kind of a Dragon Ball type of thing where he's fighting.
Popeye is one of those weird characters. Like I don't.
Yeah, it's strange.
But he was like ubiquitous. He was everywhere as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But is he a superhero? Like I remember the arguments. Popeye's not a superhero, but he has powers. But you know,
only derived from spinach. Yeah.
So does Our Man. You know what I mean? So does Adam needs to hit a button. You know, Ant-Man needed to take a pill at first and then use his belt. So yeah, I don't know. But does he fight crime, or is he just manipulated by that evil olive oil into fighting that guy that, you know, Popeye, move on. Olive oil's going to break your heart. She's not worth it. She's so fickle. Move on.
That's it. They've done tons of comics. That's how it was in the cartoons, where it was always just somehow ended up fighting Bluto. Right.
And for the chat, we used to put thought into writing letters. Now we just say a bunch of bullshit. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Evolution of letters. Well, I'm sure Cam knows better than me, but they used to, in order to get medium mail, they had to have 2 full pages. So 1 page in the back of a page of text, no advertisements, no art. And then it would qualify as a magazine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's when they used to write those really bad, hastily written short stories. And then eventually some editor got the idea, let's print these fan letters. So it was just a utilitarian way to get the cheaper rates. But I thought that was brilliant. It really did foster a sense of community.
Did you ever order any comics straight from them? Like, how did it come? Just an envelope?
I subscribed to Dr. Strange because Dr. Strange was impossible to find in my neighborhood, and they came beat up.
That's what I was wondering.
They put a brown sleeve over them, so you got like a garbage bag brown sleeve over with your name, and then they just came like all crinkled and beat up. Now I'm not a condition queen. You know what I mean? I like these. If I'm gonna pay, and I can afford, if it's $7 or $9, and there's a vast difference between I'll pay the $9. So you know what I mean? But I'm not gonna spend. You know, if something's $200 and it's good, and it's $600, you know, I'll buy the $200 comic. But
that's why I always said I'm a reader, not a collector. So I mean, actually, when they started doing the trades, I liked it because they were just. Yeah, they were just real durable. I can take them anywhere, read whole big stories.
To be honest, if I was to start all over again, I'd probably do the same thing.
Yeah, but I mean, the other room that I have looks like not nearly as much as you have your long box collection there, but close. So, I remember in Marvel 2-in-1, they had a comic with Black Goliath. So they debuted Ben Foster as Black Goliath. And then somebody wrote this really thoughtful letter. Why is he called Black Goliath and not Goliath? How come the Hulk's not called Green Hulk? How come Captain America's not called White Captain America? You know, he said the Black Panther makes sense, you know, being that he's named after a specific animal. He goes, but how come all the black, you know, how come he's not Black Falcon? And Marvel took... It spurred like a 6-month debate in the letters column, and like F in the chat said, it was very thoughtful because if it was the internet, or people would be like, "You Nazi, you racist, whatever." But people had to sit down, think. You know, you wanted it to be good enough because there was 25 letters, they only printed 4, so you know what I mean. It really heightened the conversation. Well, it's true. I mean, I've wondered that on occasion. You know, why does he have to be black Phantom or whatever. What does it have to be? But I mean,
yeah. So they changed his name to Goliath. After
Yeah,
much thought and
that's
consideration. Stan Lee was just like, yeah, I got a good point.
But I mean, Power Man. I don't know when he came out, but he wasn't called Black Power Man. He was just Power Man, right?
Right. Black Power Man.
Yeah, I know, right? When did that come out? When did I almost said Black Power Man. When did Power Man?
It was called Heroes for Hire, and if I remember correctly, it was 75. I'm sure. Cam
Okay. Yeah.
But 73. But as far as the black superheroes, first there was the Black Panther in 66, I think. And then if I remember,
Kirby.
It was by Kirby. Then it was Falcon, also by Kirby.
Yeah.
And then I think Blade was 72, and then Power Man. So Luke Cage, Power Man officially was the first Marvel black superhero to get his own comic. But I'm sure
Buscema drew that, didn't he?
I'm sorry.
Didn't Buscema draw that?
Power Man. I
can't
know.
remember.
I think Sal Buscema might have.
Oh yeah, maybe.
I think so. I'm just waiting. Cam's correcting me right now. He's typing furiously. I've pretty much given up on mainstream comics. Yeah. Unfortunately, well, this was a no-brainer to get a Garth Ennis. I love what Garth Ennis does the military, like the Punisher and Fury. Plus, it's free comic books day. I literally spent 6 hours in the store. The guy bought pizza, was giving everybody pizza. What am I going to be, a jerk? You know what I mean? You got to buy comics. Yeah, I remember that, the spinach. I think that's all based on a misinterpretation of how much iron was actually in Spider-Man. You're guilty too. Guilty, terribly guilty of what? Your comments are so far back. Thank you for putting in the chat. I wrote letters with my mom's old Smith Corona typewriter. I agonized over every word. Yeah, because you couldn't fix it. If you made a mistake with the typewriter, you pull it out, start all over again. So you know what I mean. You really wanted to write a good letter because you didn't want to submit a letter with
have a whiteout. Do the whiteout, roll it back.
I had
and then it's like a little bit off, because you rolled it back.
I love playing on it, but I wrote letters to I hand wrote them, and I never had a letter published in Marvel. I don't think I wrote about 4 or 5 letters. I had a letter published in Strangers in Paradise about how much I hated Kachu, and man, did they pile on me. And then I had a letter published in Saga that I'm not going to talk about the political details, but it started off a 6 months I'm a jerk argument.
Saga.
You can write questions to Pete Alterna. Yeah, I wrote them.
Oh.
I think I have letters in Alterna, and I think I'm going to have a letter at Horace H. Hoover and Wolf and Batsy.
I thought about doing that where, instead of, you can mail them in, but otherwise if you write online, or write an email, you print them as a letter in the book,
I have an email address, heroicmails@yahoo.com.
There you go.
I would like to put letters in my comics. So if you're so inclined now, 82 people in the chat, and want to get published in the first issue of Heroic Tales, write me a letter to heroicmails@yahoo.com, whatever story you want to, something to do with a comic book.
Talk about your one classic superhero books, or
it's about comics. It's
anything,
not about
really. Yeah,
I used to go to 7-Eleven to get the comics off the spinner rack. I think I
was doing that when Will Spartasio was drawing X-Men. I think Claremont was still writing it, and it had Bishop. It was like Bishop was becoming a character that was on the stands, and you could just get it at 7-Eleven.
Yeah,
it was so great,
and so many good comics at the time too. Like, it was like healthy, good competition. Cam brings up. Do you remember this? You got comics in a plastic bag at Toys R Us. They would put a good comic on the front, a good pack in the back, and then in the middle you'd have like a reprint of like some piece of crap that you didn't get. Like, oh.
Well, I used to do. There was a gas station up the road from me. I didn't get them at Toys R Us, but they had those multi-packs that they would have at the gas station just in the magazine rack. And I would go every time I'd gather up it was like $1.50 or something like that at that time. And I'd get one. And it was that way. It would have one good, it had like the Punisher, but it was by Chuck Dixon and like Texiera. And then I'd open up the inside and it was like what do you call it, Atari Force.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I collected I got every one that they had, every pack that they had, and I put together almost a whole run of Atari Force that I still have, and now I love it because it's like written by Mike Barron and like drawn by Jose Garcia Lopez, and it's actually a really solid book.
Yeah, my shop ran out towards the end. They ran out of free comics. Yeah, $1. I remember White Castles were 15 to 20 cents. You know, now not going to White Castle is not cheap anymore. Hell, I remember the pizza was the cheap dinner. You know, like if we were running late or whatever, and we had stuff to do, we'd just get it. Or if my dad, if we were just broke, it used to be my dad got paid on Thursdays. So Thursdays we always seemed to like run out of money, and we would get a pizza. But even pizza, my wife and I get a pizza for dinner. It's like $25 for a freaking pizza.
Well, gosh, you remember going to back in the day when the pizza was like going to a restaurant. You go like a Pizza Hut was an actual like restaurant with candlelight and like
it came out in that freaking solar flame hot pan, you know.
Yeah, you get the deep dish or it was crazy. It was like a dining experience then.
Yeah, it's the red and white checkered tablecloths, you know.
You're right.
Yeah, and that
good times. Good times.
New York,
I always say if I had the power of time travel, I wouldn't go back and like kill Hitler. I'd go back and eat like the first McDonald's hamburger. It was probably delicious.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah. My wife.
I'd go back and eat steak for like $1 in Vegas back in the 60s or whatever, you know. All you can eat steak for nothing as long as you put like a couple bucks in the slot machine.
I just watched a video that showed fast food has increased the book. Yeah, absolutely. Comic books. I always compare comic books as my basis of inflation, and because that's something I know really well. But my wife and I, we went to Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Just my wife. Okay, we got the big burgers. We're disgusting people. We each got our own fries. We each got our own soda. It was like $40.
Oh wow!
You know what I mean? Like, really, dude, come on. You know, so it's delicious. The fries are awesome, but we're not going again. You know, this little diner that we were talking about at the beginning of our conversation.
This is making me hungry.
I know. Well, we sat at the counter watching the lady cook, and we were just like, it was like watching a porno. You know, telling my wife, I think I'm hard right now watching this woman cook. You know, we were like, oh god. But we got a quesadilla. She got like this big omelet, and then we got pupusas to bring home. It was $40, but it was like it's going right in. The owner's right there cooking food. You know what I mean? It was, you know, it's not Five Guys, some nameless group of people making burgers. You know, it was awesome.
Hey, you got a new super chat from Garfield.
Chuck
E. Cheese. Yeah,
I've never been to a Chuck E. Cheese. I don't have kids, so me going to Chuck E. Cheese would be creepy. You know,
I went when I was a kid. I went to Chuck E. Cheese and Showbiz Pizza. That was the other one.
Garfield, thank you, Garfield. This is twice in one day, right? John, have you ever considered putting your experience of being a Marvel repairman into a comic? He's talking about I don't know if I ever told you this, Kelsey, but have you watched your boy Zach from the beginning, or you know, are you familiar?
Oh yeah,
yeah. Do you remember he would talk about there was an electrician who worked at Marvel? Do you ever remember a couple of videos? He did like 6 or 7 videos of like, yeah, one of my insiders is Marvel Comics electrician, and he was telling me this and telling me that was me.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, it was?
Yeah, I was the house electrician for that building. So I didn't, you know, so whenever Marvel needs stuff, I would.
Well, I remember him saying he had a salty. He had one insider that was all salty. That wasn't you. That wasn't you. Weren't the salty one.
No, I was nice. I didn't want to scare him. It was an email, so it wasn't a message. And plus, I like the guy, so you don't like, hey, you jerk. So I wrote it wrong, and I have my ID over here. So like, somebody was. I was on a panel once, and somebody's like, "Well, you're just using Comicsgate as a excuse. You just got here," and blah blah. I was like, "Dude, I was Comicsgate before John Malin. Before, here's my proof. I was the insider. You know, I go find those videos. It was when I started.
That was back in the day with like it was before it was even called Comicsgate. It was like England Teen was a channel. Doug Ernst was a channel. Captain Cummings and Zach. before he was even called Zach,
yeah,
because he was called Zach because all the SJW types that were giving him a hard time. They was like his name's probably Zach or something.
Yeah, they were trying to dig up information on him. Yeah, back when he was talking about Sunny D.
Feels like several lifetimes ago, doesn't it?
Yeah, simpler times.
Yeah.
If I had a time machine, I'd go back to the 80s. If I had a time machine, my wife always asks me, what would you do? She wants to go back to like witness Jesus. I'm like, we'd kill Jesus. We'd deliver diseases and wipe out the whole seaboard. I said, that when the boats come back after World War II and all the sailors just disperse.
Yeah.
I would just put on a sailor uniform. It's 1946. Just a guy in the crowd. Because the next 10 years is peaceful. I know who's going to win all this. I can bet on games. I can know what stocks to buy, and I could just live like this rich guy during. I could go see Marilyn.
You would be like Biff and Back to the Future too. You would,
just know everything what's going on. Get these women in these glorious outfits and the white gloves. And watch movies. Just have the best life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would do because I already understand the language. I'm not really going to get everybody that sick. Yeah, and you're paying the New York tax on top of what I paid for Five Guys. Absolutely. Typo in Love and Rock. I didn't. Matt Barr always does a nice drive-by.
Hey.
Drive-by hello. Matt, we were talking about you, how you doing a page in my comic.
Oh, wait, which one is he doing?
He's doing the Sea Hippies ad.
Oh, okay.
He knocked it out of the park.
That'll be a good one. Yeah.
I got it returned. I'll show you the colors. Okay. Show you the colors.
Oh,
Reaganomics, baby.
Reaganomics.
This is about as political as I want to get. Back in the 80s, when the right was in control, comics were great. All the lefties were making great comics. All the lefties were making punk rock. The music was great. The art was great. The movies were great. Now the left is in control and everything sucks.
We need good art again.
Yeah, right. It's art through adversaries. So all these, I think like artists tend to be a little bit more lefty for the stereotypically, and I think again.
Well, it's just counterculture. So whatever their culture they're trying to shove down our throats, artists will be the counter of that.
Like that, comics counterculture. We're making the better comics, if you ask me.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Wow. There you go. The same people in the 80s who hated big government now worship it. Yes. Yeah. The dead Kennedys who want to be liberators always end up being dictators.
Well, that's why I said we're any good artist would be counterculture, no matter what
right.
The prevalent attitude is, being distributed.
Right.
I'm going to go the other way.
look at all these Chaz. These protesters when they set up these autonomous anti-American communes. The first thing they do is enact border security harsher than anything you'd see in Texas. And then they appoint their buddies to be like the police that go. You can't come here unless you ask questions. Unless you.
It just makes me long for a more innocent time of the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, back when pimps teleported in to take out trolls.
Yeah, exactly.
So now we got Proboscis over here. Just look at this sleaze guy over here.
And what's interesting there is he's got like a handful of ring.
Yeah, he's got his pimp ring. He's got this flower on. He's Look at this underwear he's got on. It looks
almost like a precursor,
just like Undar the Barbarian. And there we go. We got a little pocket sand right in the eyes. If you're gonna be
pocket sand,
you gotta have pocket sand. And then he's got I love this. He's got like basically what's his name? The Mandarin's rings. He's just blasting.
Well, that's what I was saying. It's like a precursor to the Infinity Gauntlet because he's got the rings of vice.
Oh, yeah, the rings of vice. Yeah, rings of vice. You don't want to know, guys, the graphic description in the letter page of what each ring's powers are.
Yeah.
One of them is called the Shocker, and it has nothing to do with electricity. Rings of vice. Because he just blasts everything. And then her, she's just like watching.
So this is a question I had. Well, we're not there yet. So they're doing this whole again something Lucas made is coming out in this comic first when he's using these pillars. He's like pushing this pillar over. It reminded me of in Raiders when he used the pillar to like knock a hole in the wall.
Okay, yeah.
It's almost the same kind of thing where he's like pushing himself against the wall. I mean, that's a stretch. That might be a stretch.
I do not allow the way others to fight my battles for me. I have no little choice this time, so I must get that. Look, this like demonic figure with the horns is showing up. He's so mysterious.
That's a great drawing too. I love the way he does cast shadows on the faces in this whole series. He does that.
And then
I'm gonna steal that, man. I'm gonna start using
where
that.
are you, little monkey? Little monkey's getting ready to clobber you with my high stepping heel. Boom! right in the knee. I don't care who you are. Get the freaking piece of wood. Oh my god!
But it does nothing. It does nothing to him. Oh, so you got an ad. So there's a little break of like what happened.
Break, oh my god, what happened? Well,
See, they used to place ads really well for a cliffhanger.
Marvel Sting. Look at these. You get these articulated flat like posters. Like it's cardboard, but it has little grommets in it, so you could move. I had one for Spider-Man. I don't think I ordered it. I think somebody gave it to me. So
it'd be fun to make something like that.
All it does is break his little club.
Yeah.
He's like, I gotta get out of here.
Holy goosh.
This I don't know. This always reminds me of like a Gil Kane drawn face over here. Gil Kane always had those pointy eyebrows, and so now they foreshadowed, like you said, this column of Ghostbuster stacked rocks. If you remember that.
Yeah.
And what does he do?
No ghost would stack rocks that high.
No, yeah. And then he just uses his strength.
No human beings.
Like you said.
Yeah, so he's just using leverage. He's at the top, pushing it over. Real simple trick, but he smashes him. So he's smart, even though he's all about debauchery and himself and his pride. And this is shown that he's got skills because he managed to sneak into that little place, steal the pliers off the electrician guy, being creative, and he's able to best someone twice his size and definitely way stronger than he is by using his brain
with rings of vice. There you go.
Hey, look at him, man! I love that character. Who's that guy again?
This is Nova.
Nova, yeah. I actually got one of those.
There you go. In the next
I haven't
issue,
read it yet. No.
Somebody in Nexus finds a pile of rocks, moves it over, and finds the rings of vice.
Yeah, that'd be a fun little thing to add in there. Nobody will know what the hell those are, but people that know, people watching today will know.
We got Spider-Man beating people up through cupcakes. Mary Jane's home. Look at how sexy Mary Jane. She's home waiting for him with a cupcake in her hand. That's a woman you marry.
Is that
Gwen Stacy?
Is that a John Romita page?
Yeah, I think it's a Bob Oscar and John Romita.
Oh,
that's what I think.
I love Bob. I love Bob Oxner, man. So
yeah,
good.
I've been reading those Spidey super stories and the Adventures of Bob Hope.
The Bob Hope stuff. I'm wanting to collect those before.
Me too. I'm up to like issue 18. I had to start at the beginning. I have a couple of doubles if you're interested.
Oh, heck yeah, dude. I need to start my collection of that before somebody discovers the great Bob Hope comics and then they all shoot up in price. I gotta go get me go dig through some boxes.
Maybe we'll do like one issue of Adventures of Bob Hope before we do the Secret Wars. Just as
a little palate cleanser.
I love it though. He's fighting crime, and he comes home and Mary Jane gives him a cupcake. If that's not true love, forget about Gwen Stacy, forget about Debbie Whitman. That's who you marry. And
remember, this is Code era, so cupcake. It could be a cupcake, but it could be cupcake.
So I love this. Pip just takes out this pimp over here. Leaping leprosy. There's a curse. I don't believe it. He's like, he goes, I love this. She goes, I owe you so much. Now, first thing he says, that reward you spoke of will be enough. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm just
all my desires. Was it? Remember?
Yeah, he goes, what's wrong? You look upset. What that? I wish you to give you my pleasure cruiser. From now, I'm out of the vice business. What's wrong? That's not what I wanted.
Yeah. That's
really. What did you have in mind? Nothing. She's like hubba hubba. Of course, that devil figure was Star Fox, Eros. This is Thanos' brother.
Yeah, why didn't he step in, jerk? I mean, he's like, he could have stepped in and saved the day, but he didn't. He waited until Pip, did it.
Yeah,
and then he's
like the biggest freaking what do they call that? Cock block in the history of comics, right here. Pip the Troll does all the work, and Eros just shows up and takes the chick.
So this is Eros?
Yeah, Eros. Oh baby, I'm so glad to see you. I was so worried that something would happen, and he's like, "This is disgusting."
Is this the brother of?
This is Thanos' brother. So he's loving Thanos' death. Thanos is the Greek god of death, Thanatos.
Now, who is she?
She's just a hooker that Thanos, that Eros is going to have pleasure with for a couple of hours, and then move on.
Oh, okay. Because that's one of the questions I had was if they show up in any future episodes.
Well, that's just it. He's love him and leave him, So he not only does he like love him and leave him, but it's like he can't even let Pip does all the work. Let him have a couple of hours at least. It's not like he can't go to town and get another chick.
Which is funny because they're supposed to be like, Thanos is supposed to be the evil one, but this guy's a jerk too, man.
Yeah. Thanos just wants to kill me. This guy wants me to live and be like humiliated and
they're both flawed.
So my friend, I must thank you for freeing Heater. That's the girl's name, freeing Heater for me, even though I was quite capable of doing the same. And she said, "Oh no, I didn't want to have that beautiful face getting bruised." Because the last one was quickly depart, Pip, for the stars of romance beckon. I thank you. Bye. And he's like, yeah, bye. So and then Proboscis is coming out again. He's like, I gotta get out of here. So he has the pleasure cruiser. So it's not a total.
But it's pretty. I mean, he's pretty like pissed off because he's like, I'm gonna find those two and kill them. It's like, whoa, that's pretty heavy duty for.
Yeah, right. As soon as I figure out the most painful way to do it, I'm gonna locate and kill them too.
Yeah.
Sometimes I gotta get out of here. Yeah.
But then at the end, he's like, I'll take off in this little thing, and he's like, hey, I wonder what's in this hookah.
What's in? Yeah. Well, you're gonna smoke. Look at this cover.
Yeah, this is something else.
This is one I'm. This comic, believe it or not, it's like been very influential in my role playing games. Like you'll see when we talk about the origin of the Star Thief in here, and I found it to be very creepy. I like this could have been like a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah.
Oh, Michael Bancroft's here.
Hey, Bancroft.
Hey, Michael Bancroft. Michael Bancroft. For those of you who don't know, he has his own channel. He has his own comic, The Lucent. Looks awesome. What's up to like $70,000 or something like that?
Hey, nice.
And he hosted my launch. Just excellent. Spidey Cornelius. Why not? Yeah. Planet of the Apes, Spider-Man that you're talking about. I hope you said you didn't like comedy comics. You hear that?
Yeah, what's up? Well, got caught.
I said I don't like I said I'm wary about comedy comics because for the most part they're not funny.
Yeah, don't let Cecil hear that. He'll be crushed. You like Bob Hope and not mine? But those Bob Hope comics are classic, and they're really well drawn. Bob Oxner did the later half of it, but oh man, who did the first part of it? Most of it is Owen Fitzgerald.
Yes,
did the lion's share. I love his stuff so much. He's like he's an animator.
It's like a graphic novel every month,
Yeah, it's good stuff. Classics.
I got Flesh Gordon Zero. Oh, cool. I
thought you said Flesh Gordon Zero. Okay.
Flesh Gordon is actually a better movie than people give it credit for. It's got great stuff.
What? Flash Gordon?
Flesh Gordon.
Gordon?
Yeah. There's the animatronic, a stop motion monster in it. It's worth it. Just
oh wow. Okay.
The guy who did that was Harry Hassan's assistant.
I'll do a double feature between Debbie Does Dallas and Flesh Gordon.
Debbie Does Dallas was the first porno movie I've ever seen, and I don't know.
They were called blue movies back then. They weren't exactly porno. They were actual movies. Brother,
I'm like, you let me watch this? I don't know why.
So I found this interesting because on the cover it says Star Thief, and then he signed it Star. He signs his name right here, Star.
Yeah, well, Star. Does it? Oh wow, it doesn't even say Starlin. You're right.
That's it. Maybe he's coding it somehow.
Yeah.
So is somebody stealing Starlin Thief?
So here we have, story and layout, Jim Starlin, finished art, Steve Loyola, letterer, Tom Ozowski, colors, Petra G, Petra Goldberg, I think that was Stan Goldberg's wife, and Marv Wolfman.
And editor Marv Wolfman. That's a different one than even the last one.
The last issue was Marv Wolfman.
Okay.
But before that, it was Len Wein.
Yeah, that's right.
And here dwells the Star Thief, Wildwood Hospital. And, that's definitely a reference to the spirit, because the spirit was in Wildwood Cemetery.
This was after reading all these issues up to this point. This was a real change for me.
Yes.
Like the whole tone of it. They're on Earth. They're in a hospital with like normal characters. It was kind of like a shock. This
almost could have been a Doctor Strange story.
Yeah,
because Jim Starlin at this point was in outer space. And this sounds weird, but it's almost like a waste of Jim Starlin's cosmic power, just hospitals and
trying hospitals. Yeah. But it's worth it though. Cause like you keep going and cause like we're getting kind of introduced to this character through all these nurses, and they're having to bring stuff into this one room where there's someone that's immobile. He's like in a coma. He can't move or nothing. And there's this person that's watching over them that's always there. And inevitably, everybody runs out of the room and is afraid to go in there.
Mr. Bauman.
Yeah.
It's time for Mr. Bauman's dinner. Just place it on the table and go.
Yeah. The way he's drawn there, he looks really ominous.
Just menacing over here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like colored like wrong. But just look at this. Like I like this page, 7 panels, which is awesome. But then look at this. It's almost like Jim Starlin, just something about space and all this that just brings out maybe his enthusiasm or fire.
It's like he hated the drawing these 2 normal pages so much that he exploded on the next 2 pages.
Well, you're an artist. You tell me, like, drawing the floor and the perspective lines and buildings and stuff like that. Because if it's a hospital, it's got to be familiar and recognizable as a hospital. Over here. Is this easy to draw that you don't need all of those perspective lines and everything?
It's certainly easier, but more than that, it's way more fun. I mean, just drawing a hallway and it's just like, I've seen this like 100 times. Space, you're going to use your imagination. Yeah, it's easier, but it's a lot more fun.
Like Garfield,
Hey, see ya.
This will be up here forever for you to watch. Yeah, so this is just, and it's like you don't care. Like he's floating over here. You see planets in the like you can't see Saturn this big, you know what I mean? But it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I like today when I was talking about Silver Surfer, I was like, I just hand wave it away as we're seeing this through Silver Surfer's cosmic senses.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the planets look so close, And then over here, look, you can see the stars. This panel, stars are suddenly disappearing. Yes,
check it out.
Perception I've gained with my link up with the Magus' mind assures me that, as insane as it is, I could define reality. He's talking about how he linked minds with the Magus, so he has like enhanced senses now.
Yeah,
seeing stars disappearing.
What's interesting is that page or that panel that's the bottom one on the left.
This one,
next one over to the left. Yeah, if you look at the stars, they're elongated, almost as if he's moving fast, kind of like again Star Wars.
Good point. Yeah,
how they stretch the stars when they move fast. But I mean, that could be whatever this entity is, like sucking it up here. What does he say? That's part of my mind, which is the Magus also feels it would be better to find a new universe. Okay, no. So he's just like moving through the universe, but he's got motion blur on the stars in 1977.
Yeah.
Before, well, I guess Star Wars might have come out by then. When this issue came out.
Believe it, this is his first time coming back to the Earth, regular Earth, since Fantastic Four 65, back in like 1966. So he's passing by the Earth, the artificial satellite, and here he's coming to the. Is this the blue area of the moon? Where is he right now? No.
He's noticing all these without the stars. these planets of whole civilizations are freezing solid.
That's right. Yeah. I thought he was at the blue area of the moon. Yeah. So things are dying without their stars.
Yeah.
So he's like, so this was a civilized world that had its own artificial satellites, and now they're all dead. So, this is a galactic threat. This is a world-class threat. This is a threat on the level of Dark Phoenix or Galactus. And now he's using the soul gem. He uses his soul gem to scan, and he's repelled. I didn't expect that to happen, yet I've succeeded. The gem was able to detect and trace this mysterious star thief's power. Power so great that even the infinitesimal contact my search being made nearly burnt out the gem in my brain. So yeah, that's how powerful the star thief is. It almost destroyed an infinity gem. Again, the infinity gems got more powerful as time went on, but looking back at it retroactively, star thief is a bad guy. He's powerful. He can destroy infinity gems. Fortunately, my jewel seems to have a built-in self-protection device. So it broke its connection, like a circuit breaker. It tripped.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
But it does tell him that what does he say? According to his gem, these galaxy-spanning forces are emanating from the mind of a single Earthman.
I was about to say, there better be an ad on the page, right?
See, they're so smart with their ad placements back then.
So, alas, Kelsey, if only you and I saw this ad, we would have an Atlas body instead of it. Alas. Live sea.
I would have wasted my money.
Look at all this, though. We could have learned to fly. We could have got taller. We could have learned to play guitar, got that body. There's nothing. We would have been unstoppable.
Could have learned kung fu, karate.
Yep. Become a motorcycle mechanic or a veterinary assistant or a motorcycling veterinary assistant. Travel around on our motorcycle, tall in shape.
Be taller.
Yeah, and playing the guitar as we showing up. I heard your doggy is sick. There would have been movies about us, Kelsey.
That was a self-help gold mine right there. Nobody took advantage.
Yeah, and it's funny because I was thinking for an issue of Heroic Tales at some point in the future where a kid gets everything in every ad of every comic book and becomes a superhero. He has X-ray vision. He has shock gloves. He's got an Atlas body.
That'd be a funny character in a story, not like about him, but just sort of like in Incredibles when the bad guy was like this super fan. So I can imagine like having a character that bought everything they found in a comic and then they got like some kind of ring of power out of it, or like that bag of money that you're talking about.
Look at this bizarre thing. I just noticed this. I never noticed this before. Free sales kit. Make money right away.
It's probably a how to make those ads.
It's you learn how to take their social security cards and make metal plates out of them. So you take people mail you their social security card and you forge a metal social security card and send it back to them.
But then you have their social security number, which you can do all kinds of horrible things.
That you mail somebody a social security card.
Innocent times.
Look at this page. Look at that.
Yeah, so this is pretty fun. How like this is something notable difference in what John's looking at in this is that somehow the page count or the page placements got mixed up. So the reveal. That great cliffhanger that he has where he's like the mind of a single Earthman. And I'm looking at it right here on the facing page. So you had this great ad break. Then you turn the page and it's the reveal of that. So they ruin it in the trade. It's just right here in front of you.
So the ads actually helped storytelling.
Yeah.
Like you said, somebody put that in at the right moment.
They designed, even the way it's set up, because of the ads earlier in the book, if you'd have turned the page and it didn't have the ads, it still would have been this as a reveal on the page. But they didn't do it here. They just don't think about these trades. They just throw them all in, whatever happens. But
look at this. Yeah. The light from the blind.
He looks creepy here. Like the way he drew his face too is like odd.
It's almost like he's smooth, like he has no wrinkles.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's weird.
He's a human in a coma, but yet somehow like that uncanny valley is invoked.
He had to have done that because we've seen him draw hundreds of great faces throughout this book. That had to have been to make him feel odd, off,
right.
you know.
Absolutely. The Bizarre Brain of Barry Bauman.
What a great title, too.
Yeah. So what happens is this guy is in a coma. I forget how. Do you remember how he got into the coma?
Well, I know he's like the son of somebody really important or rich, right? Like,
how can a person who has never heard a sound, seen a color, smelled an odor, tasted food, or felt pain be a star thief? That's because that is how, Barry is a human vegetable. He was able to acquire that power. For trapped as he is within that prison of his non-receptive brain, young Barry Bauman has found a way to free his mind, and no man has ever dreamed of before. How is it freed? In terms no mere Homo sapien could hope or grasp or comprehend. For one chance for understanding, this mind of Barry Bauman lies in looking within said brain and allowing it to tell its own tale. So I love this. You know, there was darkness, never-ending darkness. For ages, I was in this void. I have been denied the gift of my five senses, or had I been spared their burden. For in their place, I discovered I had an amazing sense of self. Over inestimable periods of time, I was the universe. I was the all. This is such children thinking. You know what I mean? This is childlike thinking at its best. For those of you who are following, I'm up here.
But I mean, it's kind of like the Daredevil thing, you know, where he didn't have his senses, so he was able to cultivate the senses that he did have greater than any other person. So in a way, that's this, where his mind is obviously very active, and over the course of time was able to learn how to focus that mind and actually reach beyond his body.
So he goes, I became aware. So he has an awareness, even though he was born like this.
Yeah.
Like you said, some rich, I forget who, some rich senator, governor, whatever.
Yeah, I know they say that because I do remember that.
They set him up so that he and he has it like this bodyguard or whatever here to pay the medical bills. You know what I mean? Rather than just pull the plug on him and let him die. So now his mind is a labyrinth, and his awareness just traveled and explored every nook and cranny of his brain. Unlocked, you know, that goes back to that we only use 10% of our brain lie that just drives me nuts. But he explored, and it says it right here, until it explored entire continents rather than the mere 10% that most humans take advantage. My mind ended up being thousands of times more powerful than any puny human brain. So finally, I set out to explore those regions outside myself by sending forth light waves of extraordinary force to surround my surroundings. And come upon another corporeal figure. And so now he's basically sending his consciousness into his bodyguard, and his bodyguard is like his an extension of himself.
Yeah, and you get the idea at some point that the bodyguard is trapped in his own body because Barry is using him as his physical form, you know?
Right. So at first when you think he's creepy and you're like, what's going on? Now you kind of feel bad for him. And now because this being called Tom Bosket, so he even names him. Tom Bosket out to gather information I needed using his eyes. I raced through all endless volumes of all I could. So he used this guy to learn about the world. And then we got binders.
Oh, wow.
You know, look at this kid. Sell Grit. I think it was Grant Morrison made it, you know, that Grit had the secrets of the universe and the best stock tips, but nobody ever bought it, so nobody ever got it. So I made that joke before. And then somebody in the chat said that Grit was supremely popular, but in rural areas of America. But since I grew up in New York City, Long Island, I never knew anything about Grit. But it was like meant for farmers and had like farming information. So I love
F in the chat saying that's the symbol of awareness. How else are you going to express it? Did we pass that up? One of these
which symbol?
I don't know. I'm curious though.
Oh, the eyes. These eyes.
Oh, yeah. On the
or is this like a symbolism thing that I'm not aware of? Yeah.
Well, I mean that just showing the eyes, kind of awakening. It's kind of like showing awareness.
Same with Psylocke has that butterfly, and I love this. So now, poor old Tom, he's got telekinesis. He scares away the nurses. So what he does is he's setting up an aura. Don't bother me. Don't bother me. So like the nurses will come in and drop off stuff like food, and then leave.
Well, that's because he's starting being a jerk. Like it starts off with him just moving junk around in the room, to probably slapping nurses on the butt and all kinds of things like that. Of
course, the 62 car pileup.
Yeah, then he's like bored, so he starts really wreaking havoc.
He never developed humanity. He's just he's basically an alien in a human body that just, oh wow, look at this, the toys. I'm playing with toys.
Look, I can cause an earthquake that destroys a whole city. A large city in Nevada.
And he goes, and then I realized I could leave the earth. And I could float among the stars, and there I would find my revenge. He wants revenge. Revenge.
Yeah, he's really mad because it's like against a world that made no effort to figure out what's wrong with him.
Right.
Revenge, it's like real petty.
Billions of dollars to kill each other, and they would not spend the $1 or so that it would cost to cure me, making me the most unique yet lonely being the stars have ever seen. And for this, I shall have revenge.
It's so selfish, But I mean, he's had no teaching or no learning experience about humanity in any kind of way.
So does this make him a sympathetic villain? Like, isn't that like the new Rage? All the villains have to be sympathetic.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess they're not making it out that way though. Like, I didn't feel sorry for him at all. Like to me, he seemed like a jerk.
Yeah, he was a jerk right away.
Yeah.
His first act is to take over the what do they call the orderly that's taking care of him?
Yeah,
destroyed his life. Wouldn't the orderly be the second most lonely person in the world? Because this guy, at least he has a family,
right? So
now he's out among the gleaming diamonds of the night. He's sending meteors and whole planets into stars. These human-like beings are just like knowing terror as their stars just disappear.
Yeah, he's loving just affecting people in any kind of way, just making them feel fear for taking their stars. And
he goes, I'm gonna extinguish all the stars. So he wants Earth to suffer. He's gonna extinguish all the stars so all the Earthlings see the stars wink out one by one, so they feel horror as they die. He goes, then I will abandon my corporeal body and seek out life compatible to my own after I replace those planets. What's this? I sense something interfering with the forces I have set in motion. I must investigate. So he's picking up Adam Warlock.
This is when he's sensing Adam Warlock, which is actually diverting his attention slightly, and that's allowing our Mr. Voxum to kind of regain his.
I know. Damn it! I know.
Yeah, he's kind of waking up a little bit, like like he's been stuck there forever, and suddenly he has a little bit of freedom.
This page, I love this 2-page spread.
This is awesome. I wish it was a 2-page spread for me, but
it's on separate pages. But here, he's guided by the green energy of the soul gem, just flying through space.
Yeah, so
I love how he holds on to his cape to give it a good billowing effect.
Yeah,
look at this panel over here. He's just flying at like whatever speeds, and boom. I'm afraid I cannot allow myself to become fodder for some jade succubus. Who? I'm the one who you seek. I'm the entity you have chosen to call the Star Thief. And again, it's like Psylocke, it's just her, psionic avatar.
But it's funny that he's referring to the jewel as the jade succubus.
Yes.
He senses the jewel, not necessarily Adam Warlock. It's the power of the jewel that's drawing him.
I come to examine and eliminate an unknown foreign element that had sought to interrupt the flow of power I set into motion. But what I found disturbs me. For I have looked into your mind, Adam Warlock, and I know who you are. Amazingly, I found similarities between us. We are both perverted creations of Earthmen who fear and would created of Earthmen who would fear and destroy us. Yet I seek to punish them, and you seek to protect them. And here we got the superhero speech. Because as pitiful as they are still life, and as such as beyond priceless beyond measure. This is why I am like I am, for reading hours of speeches like this. And you, my powerful fiend, are obviously anti-life, for you clearly place no worth upon that one treasure that once gone can never be replaced. You have allowed some grave wrong done to you to twist your judgment and turn you into something far worse than that which you hate. So I must fight you, Star Thief, and for I am life, I must defend life. That's a pity. For I sense a kinship between you and I realize I could never make you understand the demons that drive me. So, dun, 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 we go to the checklist.
Oh, see, cliffhanger again.
Yeah.
They're milking it. They're milking it.
This is why I love the letters pages. Check this out. Ralph Macchio, who becomes an editor and a writer at Marvel Comics.
I used to always think that was the Karate Kid.
Yeah, I know.
Like, oh man, he edits comics.
And him and John Romita Jr. were Marvel's hunk of the month, if you remember.
No, I don't. That's funny.
And then another ad,
Oh wow! So they're really
get to it. What was he going to say?
Yeah, they're really pushing it.
I must destroy you.
Yeah, and these guys I remember from the Marvel Universe handbooks, because I used to pore over those and just look at all the different Marvel characters and read about them. And I remember these blockhead guys, and I never seen them in any comic book ever. So when I read this, I was like, I remember those guys.
Quickly smash him before he recovered. And now we just have a good old superhero brawl. Look at these sound effects. Karunt, Zark,
Karunt,
Katunk, Karoom. Yeah, I just well done. My metaphoric menace was a quick and and merciful death. Now step back. I wish to confirm what? He's gone. Where? And
he just slipped out of the cape.
Where? Behind you, Star Thief. He throws one into the other. Very impressive. I see that there's sections of your mind closed to my earlier examination. You're indeed a most interesting foe.
It's showing. It's really interesting how subtle they do this, because it's showing that the Star Thief is not omnipotent.
Right.
It means he can't be everywhere at once, because he lets go of a little bit of his control, which is freeing his guardian back in the hospital a little bit. And then we see it again here that Warlock is able to slip his gaze a little bit to get surprise on him. So he's not like God or anything. He's not omnipotent.
And I love this beam. He goes, "Who are you?" He goes, "I'm a warlock. I am the earth. I am the wind. I am the fire. And that is the only explanation I could give." He goes, "Okay, I accept you to be one of the four elements. And you're an enemy that must be eliminated."
He just accepts him as one of the elements. It's pretty funny.
Right, yeah. I challenge you to a test of skills. I defy you to reach Earth and kill me, as you have already planned. I shall seek to block you. So now it's a game.
Yeah.
It's a game, All right, this is fun,
Yeah, because it's like I got to get to Earth to stop you, and he's got to stop him from getting to Earth to stop him.
and then we got Spider-Man over here, Peter Parker with that Wolverine's jacket,
Is this another ad?
Yeah, this is Twinkies.
Oh, God.
Spider-Man stopping this freaking Gene Shalit looking guy over here. And now, look at this. Stars are vanishing by the hundreds.
Yeah, so now Earth is starting to pick up on the stars disappearing, right?
And again, you said he could draw faces. These are great faces, So
it's emoting.
He made the Star Thief look creepy on purpose.
Yeah.
And then look at that. This is the avatar that I've been using for our talks. That's just awesome.
Yeah, such a great, I thought this is two stories. I thought this was one story. It's a two-parter.
Yep. So
you can't go home again.
What's that? Do you want to go to another, or we'll
I'm starving after all that food talk, so we might have to go.
We got 2 whole issues and then 2 whole annuals, so it looks like we got 2 more episodes of Warlock to go, pretty much.
That's pretty funny. I mean, that's interesting because I really thought this. That shows you how like I was all in. Yeah, because I just read this whole story as one go, and one of my favorite bits is coming up with the space shark. So yeah, we'll have to come back to this.
Yeah, we'll come back. I'm enjoying this, and I don't want to rush it. And again, I have to. I go to bed at 9:30 for work. So stars started vanishing. It would take decades, if not centuries, for us to notice. Yes, we kind of glossed over that, but it's because of Adam Warlock and the Soul Gem and the senses that he got from the Magus. He was able to see. Otherwise, he would have missed it. You know, because apparently it's been going on for a while. The Star Thief didn't just start doing this stuff. It's been going on for a while. But now that Adam Warlock is alone, he absorbed the Magus. He's getting a grasp of the Star Thief. Now he's like, wait a minute, this is not right. It's almost like he's cosmically aware. So yes, Michael, I don't know if I addressed it or if I kind of glossed over it. Yes, to be continued. More Warlock. Cam, loving this. Take your time. Thank you, Cam. So awesome. I'll talk to Kelsey. We'll see when we can set up another day for this. I'm loving this too.
Yeah, it's fun because I'm learning a lot from this as well. Just the complexity of storytelling, and it's good for me. Like I need to read more books. I don't read nearly as much as I should, especially some of these old books that are classics for a reason. Yeah. I read a few of the benchmarks, the big ones, of course, and read a lot of little comics here and there, but I missed a lot of these big tentpole comics, I guess, for lack of a better word. Like tentpole movies, like The Avengers is a big tentpole movie that everybody goes and sees. There were these great moments in comics like this that I never really got into. So this has been a lot of fun.
I'm enjoying this. This is all I want to talk about. Like I said yesterday, I'm hanging out with Cecil and Vaughn and Billy Tucci, just talking about comics.
It's good times.
Now with Steranko, and then they're talking about art of comics itself. It was just great.
Steranko's still kicking around, man. I'd love to meet him.
And it's funny because Steranko is like, when is there going to be a Comicsgate convention? Steranko, he's like, I'm going.
Yeah, he seems real spry and healthy still. So I think he's still got some life in him.
Yeah, the guy's like close to 80. He's got like a pompadour. He's like a Japanese rocker, like just insane pompadour. He walks in the room. He's like, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Did I tell you the time I punched?
Was it? Who did he punch? Was it? It wasn't Stan Lee. Who was it? He put.
Probably Jewish.
Oh, it was Bill. It was Bob Kane. He like, did I tell you the time I punched Bob Kane?
Bob Kane probably deserved it from what
I read. Yeah.
I never read Warlock comics, so this has been great. Thank you, Mac. Yeah, this is just
it's fun. It's a good read.
We were talking before, like when I was a kid, everybody liked Star Wars. I love Star Wars. And then when Battlestar Galactica came out, the general consensus in my neighborhood was it's not Star Wars. So it was so because of that became my thing. I love the original Battlestar Galactica. Like that was because nobody else liked it, and I didn't collect.
I loved it.
Comics. I collected Battlestar. So
I watched all that stuff when I was a little. It was still on when I was a little kid. It was you had Buck Rogers, Battlestar Galactica. Yeah, Twiggy. I need a vacation. Did a little.
But Warlock became mine because nobody else was into Warlock. So I was like, this is my character. I got like protective of him to the point even when they announced that they were going to put him in the Marvel movies, I'm just like, no, like I want to gatekeep my character.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the way I look at it, it's like these Star Wars movies or these when they reinterpret these characters for the movie, these comic characters for the movies. I'm just like, I have mine secure in my, this will always be pure, and that's not going to hurt me at all watching what they do. So
it's funny because we're watching. My wife and I watch Stranger Things, and they got that monster, the Demogorgon, and my wife, that's not the Demogorgon. The Demogorgon and blah blah, and that's two baboon kids. And my wife goes, John, That's the Demogorgon for now. More people know that as the Demogorgon.
Yeah, right.
Pure. I can't argue with that.
Yeah, it's true.
And I'm like, that Demogorgon is probably more of like a dimensional shambler or something. Like, she's like, stop, knock it off.
Just stop it. Just stop, John.
That shadow being the mind flayer. I'm like, that's not the mind flayer. The mind flayer. That's it. So I can't argue. Like, Mantis is now an alien. She's not a Vietnamese prostitute. It's
sell that to modern audiences. I don't know if that would.
A lot of prostitutes in 70s Marvel, guys. We had Gamora, prostitute, the heater, the hooker that tricked Pip.
It's really fascinating when you say it like that. But yeah, there's been prostitutes all through this book so far. This series,
world's oldest profession and world's far-flung, star-flung profession.
And they're all very capable women as well. If you've noticed,
the matriarch was intelligent and crafty.
I think Jim Starlin has a heart for the heart of a whore of gold. How would you say that? The whore with the heart of gold.
With the heart of gold.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And
all
again,
right. Well, this has been fun.
The best is still yet to come.
This is our own ad break, our own cliffhanger.
Same beard time, same beard channel.
That's right. Well, thanks for hanging out, everybody.
I gotta eat too, yeah. Even though I devoured a beef quesadilla at 12:30 in the afternoon today, it is now time for me to enjoy my pupusas that I brought home.
Oh,
pupusas are just stuffed tortillas with pork, bean, and cheese.
Oh,
yes,
dude, sounds good.
I might die young, but I'm not gonna lose. I'm gonna lose the bad years. I'm
there. You go.
When I'm laying in the bed imagining that I'm the Star Thief, those are the years.
Yeah, we could give her. You may be the Star Thief. You don't even know. You gotta try it.
I tell you, man, if I was the Star Thief, the last thing I'm gonna do is car crashes and earthquakes. That nurse would come with the food and all her clothes would fall off. It'd be like an endless Benny Hill movie.
You'd be messing with those nurses in the hospital, that's for sure.
You'd hear that they'd be naked. He's running around.
Yeah, right. Benny Hill.
And then when Warlock shows up, I'm like, leave me alone. I promise I won't blow up any stars. But yes, thank you guys. 83 guys. And there was some people streaming tonight, so I was kind of like a little nervous that nobody would show up.
Yeah, it's busy on Sundays. I don't know, it's always busy. So you just kind of get in when you fit in.
I try not to step on anybody's toes, but oh, you know what?
Yeah, you can't really
Comic
help
book
it.
Radio on Alternative Comics, comic book.
Oh yeah, that's a fun show. I've done that show a few times.
I really liked what Michael Bancroft did with the Bogan raid. So he's got 15 people watching. We got 84 people. Let's go give Alternative Comics, a beard raid or something like that.
Yeah, what is our? Yeah, is that our? The beard raid.
Yeah, everybody just run in and beards or two beards, one comic. Just mess with me. It's the first time it happened to me, Michael Bancroft.
You were like, "What is happening right now?"
I got scared.
What's a bogan?
Yeah, a bogan raid. Like I went from like 4 people to watch it to like 115. They're all yelling boat. I'm like,
you're like, honey, lock up the booze. There's a raid happening.
I just spent thousands of dollars on a comic book. Am I getting canceled? Like I was really scared.
There you go. F in the chat says long box bump. Long box raid. Yeah, it would be good.
Yeah, long box raid, long box. Just jump in and let's give Pete some just mess with Pete. All right. Kelsey and I are gonna go. We'll set up another one of these and I'll give everybody ample time, a couple of days.
And he'll shoot me the link this time.
This time I'm sitting there going, where is this guy? And it's me. Bogans are firm but gentle raiders. Yes. Well, we're contemplative and practice skepsis and contemplate the nature of the universe. The beard raids are surprisingly gentle. All right.
Well, the long box is like a battling ram. Just battle with the long box. Hey, ho!
Alternative Comics are cheap, so you can fill up a long box very economically. But thanks a lot, guys, and thank you, Michael, for staying and checking us out. I appreciate it. Mike was generous enough to launch my comic. It was great, a lot of fun. But see you guys. I got a bunch of chats this week. I'll put up the links as pretty much tomorrow. I'm going to bed. All right, bye-bye.
Later, gang. Bye-bye.